Hi there and welcome to the second of these videos. In the first one we managed to set up the page, we set up a bleed, you got yourselves back into InDesign, those kinds of things. So this is where we're going to look at setting up, making sure the workspace is something that you can work on and easily find things, and also setting up color swatches. So if your workspace doesn't look like this, you want to have it on essentials. Obviously, if you prefer to work in something else, that's fine. If at any time it gets messed up, you can go essentials, reset essentials, and that'll reset the whole workspace, put all the menus back where you want them. First things first, you might want to save this particular document. So file save as and save it to wherever. As mine's a test, I don't really need to do that at this stage. Okay, so if you remember previously we looked at libraries. The idea of libraries is that you can use a library to store particular things across the Adobe suite. So you might create something in Photoshop and you can store that asset without file saving it and then placing it and just add it to your library, or it could be a color or anything like that. So I've actually set one up here for magazine cover, and that can be accessed from the various Adobe programs. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is the swatches. So if you go Window, Color, and Swatches here, it's going to open a Swatches window. Now, if you look, there's some preset ones in there. Paper is what they call white. Black is obviously black. Don't bother with registration. None is no color, and then there's some preset ones in here. You want to organize yourself with the colors that you're going to use. You don't want to be constantly looking up and going, what was that green I used? What was that red I used? What we don't know. We don't use hexadecimal colors in this. We're going to use RGB. So you don't want to have to remember all those numbers or write them down somewhere else. You want to just have them to your fingertips. Likewise, you don't want to have to keep going in and using an eyedropper tool and going, what was that color, and so on and so forth. Okay, so there's a couple of ways we can do this. First of all, you might want to experiment with colors. So if we come up and draw ourselves a box in here, and mine's already green because I've been messing about beforehand, and then I say to myself, oh, well, I'm looking for a kind of blue. Ooh, let's have a look at that shade of blue. Yeah, I quite like that. I double click back in here again, and I think to myself, yeah, I'm going to like that, and I'm going to use that for my my main lettering, for instance. So I can go add RGB swatch, and you see it's appeared here. Okay, and then I'll press the OK button. I'll double click this, and then I'm going to go name this color. So if I want that to be main font, for instance, I can go like that, and I can click OK, and that becomes main font in there. And then I've got a color swatch in there, and then I can do it again and again and again, and do the same thing and get some different fonts. Another way of doing it, if you have an existing image that you've used, or a logo you've already created, or something that you've taken from the internet, for instance, if we go File Place, remember it's place and not insert image or anything like that. I don't know, maybe this image here. Here's a cake. And then I think to myself, oh, I quite like this color here. Let me try and steal this color, not by color picker, that would be a bit ridiculous. I'm going to look for the eyedropper tool. If it's not there in there, you might have to hold that down and get it from one of them. I've already got it, and I think to myself, yeah, I quite like that brown there, or goldy color or whatever. Yeah, that one there, I quite like that. So I want to add that to RGB swatch. And again, going through the same process, double click, and that may be something I'm going to use for, I don't know, border, for instance, whatever you want to call that. So you've got some idea of what the page is going to look like. At this stage, you're going to use this as your main font, and that's your border. I'm also now going to get rid of that image. So I've got myself a swatch, and you build that up. You might not have it all there, but you want to get your main things down. If you've already planned this out somewhat, you're going to get that idea in your head of the sort of colors that you can use. And you may indeed have gone and used something like Adobe Cooler or Color Wheel or something like that, and chose your colors that way. You can do it like that as well. So that in that instance, you could come into one of these existing colors, for instance, and you could change the value. Well, you go into RGB here, and you change the values in here. That value, that value, that value, and then you could come up here and name that color like that. So that could change some of that, or you could add a new one. So there's different ways to set up your color swatch, and also I've done a bit of setting up your library as well.